The Galactic Academy's amphitheater fell silent as Professor Zelthor's crystalline form shimmered at the podium. Representatives from 47 species filled the tiered seats, their various appendages poised over data tablets. At the back row, Hannah Chen sat with her arms crossed, dark eyes scanning the room with practiced vigilance. Today, the professor's voice resonated through translation implants. We discuss conflict resolution among primitive species. His gaze lingered on the human section, a deliberate provocation that earned chittering laughter from the Zarkonian contingent. Evan Rodriguez, seated 3 rows ahead of Hannah, stiffened. She'd warned him about this. Humans had only been part of the Academy for 2 cycles, barely enough time to prove they belonged among civilizations that had mastered interstellar travel millennia ago. A Zarkonian named Thraxul raised one of his forearms. "Professor, isn't it true that humans still engage in physical combat? How barbaric." More laughter rippled through the chamber. Evan's jaw clenched. Hannah could see his shoulders tensing, the telltale sign that her usually calm friend was approaching his limit. The Zarkonians had been pushing for weeks, accidentally blocking corridors, sabotaging their assignments, spreading rumors that humans had only gained Academy admission through political manipulation. Actually, Evan stood, his voice cutting. Through the mockery, humans developed complex diplomatic frameworks thousands of years ago. Your species was still in tribal warfare when we established the United Nations. The room exploded. Thraxul surged to his feet, his exoskeleton plates flaring crimson with rage. "You dare insult the Zarkonian Empire? We conquered 3-star systems before your ancestors discovered fire." "Conquered," Evan shot back. "That's your solution to everything. Maybe that's why the Council rejected your expansion proposal last cycle." Hannah closed her eyes. Idiot. Evan had just crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Thraxul vaulted over 2 rows of seats with impossible speed, his species-enhanced musculature propelling him toward Evan. The amphitheater erupted into chaos. Professor Zelthor's crystalline structure blazed with alarm signals, but galactic regulations prevented faculty from physically intervening in student disputes. Evan barely managed to dodge the first strike. Thraxul's fist cratered the desk where the human had stood seconds before. The Zarkonian was stronger, faster, evolved on a high-gravity world where survival meant constant physical dominance. Evan started this fight. Thraxul snarled, grabbing Evan by the collar and lifting him off the ground. "And I will finish." He never completed the sentence. Hannah moved with the fluid precision of someone who'd spent years training in Earth's most demanding combat systems. While other species relied on strength or natural weapons, humans had weaponized their greatest advantage: adaptability. She didn't attack Thraxul directly. Instead, she analyzed in milliseconds: joint structures, weight distribution, center of gravity. Zarkonians were formidable, but their high-gravity evolution came with trade-offs. Their exoskeletons, while protective, had inflexible points. Their enhanced muscles required more oxygen. Their confidence made them predictable. Hannah grabbed a stylus from her desk, just a simple writing instrument, and threw it with calculated force at the amphitheater's environmental control panel. The lights flickered. In that moment of distraction, she closed the distance. Her first strike wasn't a punch. It was a precise pressure point jab to the cluster of nerves where Thraxul's secondary arm joined his torso. His grip on Evan released involuntarily as neural confusion flooded his system. "Hannah, don't—" Evan gasped, but she was already in motion. Thraxul swung at her with 2 arms simultaneously. She ducked under one, redirected the other using his own momentum, and drove her elbow into the soft joint of his knee. The Zarkonian stumbled, just slightly, but it was enough. "Humans are weak," Thraxul roared, regaining his balance. "You cannot defeat—" Hannah didn't let him finish. She'd learned long ago that talking during a fight was a luxury humans couldn't afford against stronger opponents. While he postured, she moved. She feinted left, then rolled right, coming up inside his guard. Her palm strike targeted the breathing spiracles along his neck, not hard enough to cause permanent damage, but precise enough to trigger an involuntary respiratory reflex. As Thraxul gasped, she swept his legs using a technique that turned his weight against him, The Zarkonian crashed to the amphitheater floor. The impact reverberated through the chamber. Hannah stood over him, breathing controlled, stance ready. Evan started an argument, she said clearly, her voice carrying to every corner of the silent room. Thrakzul escalated to violence. I finished it. There's a difference. Professor Zelthor's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been approval. The human demonstrates the principle perfectly. Conflict resolution requires understanding when words end and survival begins. Thrakzul struggled to rise, his pride more wounded than his body. Around the amphitheater, the mood had shifted. The chittering mockery had died. Species that had dismissed humans as fragile newcomers now watched Hannah with wary respect. An elder from the Council of Observation, present to evaluate the Academy's newest members, leaned forward in her seat. Fascinating. The human female used minimal force but maximum efficiency. She calculated 17 potential outcomes in the time it took the Zarkonian to throw a single punch. Evan finally found his voice. Hannah's third Dan in Jiu-Jitsu, second-degree black belt in Krav Maga, and competed in championship-level kickboxing. Humans might not be the strongest or fastest, but we've spent thousands of years figuring out how to defeat opponents who are. Hannah extended a hand to help Thrakzul up. The Zarkonian stared at it, confusion warring with injured pride. Finally, he accepted. Your species is unexpected, he admitted grudgingly. That's our specialty, Hannah replied. Humans don't win by being superior. We win by being unpredictable, adaptable, and too stubborn to quit. As medical staff arrived to check both combatants, the council observer made a note in her data tablet. The report would change human standing in the Academy, but more importantly, it would echo across the galaxy. Humanity had arrived and they fought differently than anyone expected. Professor Zelthor resumed his lecture, but the lesson had changed. As we've witnessed today, true strength isn't measured in power alone. The humans have shown us that intelligence, strategy, and precision can defeat raw force. Perhaps we have much to learn from Earth's newest representatives. Hannah returned to her seat, catching Evan's grateful nod. They'd both learned something today. Sometimes the best way to end a fight wasn't to avoid it, but to finish it so decisively that no one would dare start another.